Yellowstone volcano. Why USGS scientist believes overdue eruption will be big deal. Yellowstone volcano is overdue, an eruption that occurs every 10,000 years that will be a big deal for the park and its surrounding areas if it was to occur. It was claimed by a USGS scientist during a lecture. The Yellowstone volcano sits in between the states of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, inside the Yellowstone National Park. The caldera is labeled a supervolcano due to its potential to create devastation on a global scale. It last had a super eruption some 630,000 years ago, but there has been a great deal of smaller activity since then. Jacob Lowenstein, a leading scientist in charge of monitoring Yellowstone, claimed the caldera has erupted 80 times since then, with the last activity around 70,000 years ago. He said in 2014, since the last caldera-forming eruption, 630,000 years ago, there have been lava flows and in some cases, very big lava flows beneath the topography. Addressing a model of the landscape, he added, "This is one of the largest ones. It's called the Pitchstone Plateau, and it's about the size of Washington, D.C. It's anywhere from about 50 to 400 feet in thickness and it's 70,000 years old." A plateau is an area of highland, usually consisting of relatively flat terrain, that is raised significantly above the surrounding area, often left behind from an eruption. Mr. Lowenstein went on to reveal how if history repeats itself it would be a problem on a local scale. He added, "Since that time, there has been no volcanism at Yellowstone. So all of these lava flows are what has been going on for the last 30 or 40 big eruptions at Yellowstone. If something like this happened today it would be a big deal. It would not have a lot of explosive activity and it would not be a national-scale emergency. It would be very much a local event, but it would still be very spectacular." Mr. Lowenstein went on to detail how we are now overdue an eruption of this magnitude by 60,000 years. He continued, "These events normally occur every 10,000 years and appear in groupings. But the last one was 70,000 years ago." Mr. Lowenstein detailed during the same speech how the ground of Yellowstone has risen over the last 50 years. He said, "So the really remarkable thing about Yellowstone is that it moves up and down. The ground surface is unstable and over time it moves." Bob Smith was one of the parties that came in and resurveyed a series of roads that hadn't been surveyed since the 20s. Dan Derizon also worked on this topic. He's from the Cascades Volcano Observatory. He said, Bob and his colleagues reoccupied the benchmarks that were done previously in Yellowstone. And he made a contour map that shows the number of millimeters that the area has gone up. He went on to reveal how parts of the ground had risen as much as 70 centimeters, 2.3 feet, in the last 50 years. He added, "You can make out 500, 400 and 700 is the largest in the middle. Most of the activity is going on in the caldera and the uplift is about 700 millimeters in between two areas we call the resurgent domes. So it's 700 millimeters, 70 centimeters, which is about 2 feet, and so that has happened in 50 years. This is a remarkable observation and something we have been tracking ever since. We are trying to understand it."